Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a world where unseen forces, whether spiritual or otherwise, can profoundly affect our lives, our homes, and our peace of mind. It's easy to dismiss certain things, to brush them off as coincidences or figments of imagination. But the truth is, sometimes the signs are there right in front of us, and they demand to be acknowledged. Now, this is not just a conversation about superstition or folklore. It's a conversation about your home, the place that should be your sanctuary, your refuge, your safe haven. When darkness lurks within the walls of your own home, it can make everything feel unsteady. Your peace, your joy, and your well-being are at risk. So what do you do when something in the atmosphere feels wrong? What do you do when you sense something uninvited has moved in? Not in a physical form, but in a way that challenges everything you know and trust. And before we go further, let me tell you a story. There was a woman named Claire. She had a bright smile, a kind heart, and a strong belief in the goodness of people. Her home was her pride, a place where she raised her children, laughed with friends, and built memories. But over the course of a few months, things began to change. Her nights became restless. She would wake up at strange hours, feeling a cold presence in the room, as if something or someone was watching her. At first she dismissed it. Surely it was just stress, she thought. But then her children began to speak of shadows that seemed to move when no one was looking. The air became thick with a sense of dread, and Claire, the loving mother, began to lose her grip. The feeling in her home was no longer one of safety. It was as though something dark had settled there, slowly undermining her peace. Her once beautiful, warm home had become a battlefield between light and darkness. Her story is not unlike what many people experience. There's a force, sometimes subtle, sometimes stark, that tries to invade our lives, to disrupt the calm we've worked so hard to build. And that force, often invisible, comes in many forms. If you've ever felt something's not quite right in your own home, if you've ever questioned the energy in your space, or if you've experienced inexplicable shifts in your environment, you are not alone. It may very well be a sign that something unwanted has taken residence in your home. Let's take a deeper look at 7 signs that may indicate a darker force is trying to take control of your sanctuary, your place of peace. These signs are not mere happenstance. They are often the result of a deeper spiritual battle. And understanding these signs will not only empower you to recognize them, but to fight back. First, let's talk about the feeling of unease that settles in the atmosphere. It's one of the most subtle but powerful signs. You may not have a reason for it, but there's a nagging feeling in the pit of your stomach, a sense that something is amiss. You walk through the rooms of your house, and everything appears fine, but there's a heaviness in the air that no amount of cleaning or arranging can shift. It's the feeling that follows you around, and no matter what you do, you can't shake it. This is often a sign that spiritual energies, whether negative or dark, are present in your home. This feeling is much like the way a storm builds in the distance. You might not hear the thunder yet, but the air is thick with the promise of something on the horizon. In the case of a spiritual presence, that something is the growing energy of darkness. And as that energy intensifies, it can start affecting the people within your home. You may become short-tempered or sad without reason. Your mind becomes clouded, and everything begins to feel off. It's not just an occasional bad day. It's a lingering presence that doesn't belong. If you've felt this before, you've likely experienced one of the first signs that a negative entity is trying to invade. Next, let's talk about strange noises. Have you ever heard footsteps when you're alone? Or perhaps a door creaks open when you're certain it was shut? What about the sudden sound of scratching or tapping, seemingly coming from nowhere? These noises, though they might appear innocent at first, can carry a deeper meaning. When an entity makes its presence known, it often uses sound as a way to communicate. These noises are not always random. They are signals, calls to the unaware, signs that something is shifting. At first, you might think it's your imagination. But when the noises grow louder, more frequent, and more impossible to explain, they stop being just noises. They are a declaration that something has entered your space. These sounds, whether soft whispers or loud bangs, are often the first stages of a deeper presence trying to establish itself. They start small, but increase in intensity as the entity becomes more comfortable in your environment. The longer they go unchecked, the harder it becomes to ignore them. Another disturbing sign is the sudden and dramatic shifts in temperature. Have you ever walked into a room that was once warm and cozy, only to be hit by an unexpected chill? Sometimes, no matter how high you turn up the thermostat or how many blankets you add, the room stays unnaturally cold. This drop in temperature is often linked to the presence of spirits or demonic entities. Coldness in a space where there should be warmth can be unsettling, but it's also one of the clearest indicators that something is out of place. When the air around you seems to grow thick and icy, it could very well be a demonic force making its presence known. The temperature shift often happens without explanation, as though the air itself is reacting to the entity's influence. But temperature changes are not the only sign. It can also be physical manifestations, the kind that feel too real to ignore. People have reported hearing their names whispered when no one is around, or feeling something touch them when no one is near. You might feel a hand on your shoulder, a tug at your sleeve, or an invisible force that drags your blankets off in the middle of the night. These sensations might sound surreal, but they are real experiences that many people have gone through. If you're feeling touched by something unseen, it's no coincidence. The boundaries of the physical world and the spiritual world are sometimes thinner than we think. And when an entity chooses to interact with you in this way, it's a sign that it's testing your boundaries, seeking your attention. A more obvious but often overlooked sign is the presence of physical disturbances in your home. This could be broken items, lights flickering, or objects shifting position on their own. These disruptions are not always explainable by science or logic. Sometimes lights flicker without reason, or objects that were placed carefully begin to move on their own. Perhaps you've experienced a plate falling off a shelf for no reason, or a glass shattering in an empty room. These physical disturbances aren't just inconvenient, they're messages. Entities communicate in ways that can physically disrupt your environment. The message is clear: they are here and they want to be noticed. Let's also talk about the emotional toll these entities can take on your family. In many cases, the presence of negative energy in the home can cause extreme emotional disturbances. The people who live there might begin to feel angry, anxious, or depressed for no reason. Family members may find themselves snapping at each other, or they may feel unusually isolated. In extreme cases, it can lead to relationship problems, addictions, or even violent outbursts. It's as though the negative energy within the home feeds on these emotions, creating a vicious cycle of unrest. This emotional turbulence is another sign that something is amiss. When people who once loved each other begin to feel distant and disconnected, the presence of dark energy is often the cause. Finally, let's consider the undeniable feeling of dread. This is when you know, without a shadow of a doubt, that something dark is in your home. It's an overwhelming sensation, one that settles deep within your chest and refuses to leave. You can't shake it, no matter how hard you try. And every corner, every room, every hallway seems to be filled with this feeling. This is often the most terrifying sign of all, because when dread sets in, It's as though the darkness has fully infiltrated your home. It's no longer just a subtle presence. It's a force that you can feel, that you can sense in the deepest parts of your soul. Now, if any of these signs sound familiar to you, if any of them resonate deeply with your own experiences, then it's time to take action. Acknowledge that these signs are not to be ignored. They are warning bells, calling you to protect your space, your family, and your peace. It's easy to feel helpless when faced with things we don't fully understand, especially when they seem intangible or beyond our control. But the truth is, you have the strength within you to take charge of your own space, your energy, and ultimately, your peace of mind. In the face of these unseen forces, the power to fight back lies in your hands. And the first step to this battle is recognizing that you are capable. You are not powerless. Think about it. Your home is the one place in the world where you should feel the most secure. It's where you retreat after a long day, where you rest, recharge, and connect with your loved ones. It should be a sanctuary, a place of comfort and peace. But when that safety begins to erode, when you start to feel an invisible weight in the air, a shift in energy, or a presence that doesn't belong, it can be disorienting and frightening. It can lead you to feel like you've lost control, like something is pulling you away from the peace you once had. The key, though, lies in understanding that these forces, no matter how dark or intimidating they may seem, are not invincible. The power to confront them does not lie in waiting for a miracle or in feeling overwhelmed by their strength. It's about realizing that you have the ability to change the energy in your home, to fight back with the strength you already possess, and to restore peace on your own terms. Personal empowerment isn't about grand gestures or some miraculous force that suddenly swoops in to save you. It's about recognizing the tools within you and using them to transform your environment. The first step toward this personal empowerment is awareness. Too often we go through life ignoring signs or brushing them off as mere coincidences. We become accustomed to the way things are, even when they no longer feel right. But true empowerment starts with the ability to see things for what they are, without denial or fear. When you begin to notice the subtle shifts in your environment, the unease in the air, the flickering lights, the strange noises, these are the first indicators that something is not quite right. And when you acknowledge these signs, when you make the conscious decision to confront them, you are already stepping into a place of personal empowerment. What happens when you recognize these signs? You gain clarity. You no longer allow the unseen forces to dictate your emotional state. Instead, you regain your agency. Think of it like standing in the middle of a storm. The winds may howl, the rain may pour, and the world around you may feel chaotic. But in that storm, you have the power to find shelter, to stand firm, and to make choices that protect you. By recognizing the source of the disturbance, you begin to gain back the control you thought you lost. Empowerment comes from understanding that you are not alone in this battle. While you may not be able to see the forces at work, you can tap into a deeper strength within yourself. You don't need to rely on someone else to protect you, to cleanse your space, or to restore your peace. You have the ability to fight back with intention. This is where the real power lies, not in seeking outside help, but in recognizing that you are capable of taking action on your own, using the tools of your spirit, your heart, and your mind. One of the greatest acts of personal empowerment is realizing that you have dominion over your own space. Your home is yours, and just as you would lock the doors to keep unwanted visitors out, you have the ability to lock the doors to negative or harmful energy as well. This means setting clear intentions for the kind of environment you want to create. It's about being proactive instead of reactive. Empowerment is about recognizing that you are not simply a passive participant in your environment. You have the ability to transform it, to set the tone, and to safeguard your home against any forces that threaten it. Let's think about the power of intention for a moment. Intention is the unseen force that shapes everything in your life. The energy you put out into the world is mirrored back to you. When you intentionally choose to create a peaceful, loving, and harmonious environment, you are sending a clear message to any negative forces that may be present. This is not their home. This is your space, and you have every right to protect it. By setting a clear intention to restore peace, to reclaim your power, you are taking the first step toward transformation. Intention is what gives you direction, and it's the foundation of empowerment. Now, let's talk about the power of words. Words are incredibly powerful. They carry energy, and they have the ability to change the atmosphere around you. Think about how a kind word can brighten someone's day, or how an angry word can ignite conflict. The words you use when confronting negative energy in your home can be just as transformative. When you speak words of strength, of protection, and of peace, you are actively shifting the energy in your environment. You can recite prayers, affirmations, or mantras, or simply speak with conviction and clarity, demanding that any negative presence leave your space. When you speak these words, you are reinforcing your own power, and you are telling yourself that you have the ability to create the environment you desire. Another crucial aspect of personal empowerment is the importance of protecting your energy. You may not always be able to control what happens around you, but you do have control over your response. When faced with negative energy, it's essential to protect your own emotional and spiritual well-being. This doesn't mean you have to isolate yourself or close yourself off completely. It simply means you need to create boundaries, emotional, mental, and spiritual, that allow you to maintain your peace and keep any harmful influences at bay. Protecting your energy is about learning how to shield yourself from negativity, knowing when to let go of emotions that drain you, and making choices that support your mental and emotional health. In the process of empowering yourself, there's also the power of action. While intention and words are powerful tools, they must be backed by action. Personal empowerment is not just about wishing for change. It's about taking concrete steps toward it. This could mean smudging your home with sage, setting protective symbols at the entrances of your house, or practicing rituals that cleanse your space. Action shows the universe and yourself that you are serious about creating the life and environment you want. It's about taking ownership and responsibility for your well-being. Empowerment means standing up for yourself, for your peace, and for the sanctity of your home. One of the most profound aspects of personal empowerment is trust. The trust you place in yourself, in your intuition, and in your ability to navigate the unseen. Sometimes, you might not have a clear explanation for what's going on. Sometimes, you might feel lost or unsure about what to do next. But trusting yourself means trusting that you have the strength to make it through. You are stronger than you think. And when you listen to that inner voice, that guiding intuition, you tap into a source of power that will lead you in the right direction. Empowerment isn't about having all the answers. It's about trusting that you have the ability to figure things out, to make decisions that will restore balance to your life, and to find peace even in the midst of uncertainty. This journey of personal empowerment also involves a shift in mindset. Often, when faced with negative forces, we can slip into a victim mentality, believing that there's nothing we can do to change our circumstances. But true empowerment comes from rejecting the role of victim and stepping into the role of the creator. You are not powerless. You are not a passive observer. You are the one who has the ability to change your environment, your energy, and your life. Empowerment is about embracing the truth that you have the tools and the strength to overcome any obstacle. It's about reclaiming your power and stepping into the fullness of who you are. In this process, the connection to your faith or spiritual beliefs can also be a powerful tool for empowerment. Whether you practice prayer, meditation, or other spiritual rituals, connecting to a higher power can provide you with a sense of support and protection. Knowing that you are not alone, that you are guided by a greater force, strengthens your resolve and amplifies your inner power. When you tap into this connection, you are reminded of your inherent strength and your ability to overcome any darkness that may come your way. Finally, personal empowerment is a journey, not a destination. It's about continuous growth, learning, and strengthening your resolve. There will be times when you feel uncertain, when the forces around you seem overwhelming. But it is in those moments that your empowerment is tested. And it's in those moments that you grow stronger. Each time you rise above the challenges and face them head on, you are reclaiming your power. One step at a time, you are proving to yourself that you are more than capable of creating the peace and protection you desire. Empowerment is not about waiting for something to change. It's about deciding right now that you are in control of your life and your space. It's about choosing to fight for your peace, to protect your sanctuary, and to stand firm in the face of darkness. You are not a passive participant in your own life. You have the ability to transform your environment, to reclaim your home, and to restore the peace and joy that belongs to you. You have everything you need within you to make this happen. The power is yours. The emotional and physical impact of dark or negative forces in your home can be profound, often manifesting in ways that go far beyond the tangible. At first, it may begin with subtle shifts in your mood, changes that you can't quite explain. One day you may feel fine, but the next there's a heaviness in the air, a sense of impending doom that looms over you. It's not just a passing feeling, but a persistent one that seems to cling to you, affecting everything you do and altering how you interact with the world. You may not even recognize it as an outside influence at first. It's easy to assume that stress, fatigue, or personal struggles are the root causes. But when this emotional drain is consistent, when it overtakes your thoughts, your feelings, and your behavior, it's time to acknowledge that something else may be at play. One of the most insidious aspects of this emotional toll is the gradual erosion of your mental and emotional well-being. It can feel like a slow, creeping fog that clouds your thoughts, making it difficult to think clearly. You may find yourself feeling anxious for no reason, as though a storm is brewing in the distance, but you can't see it. There may be moments when you feel overwhelming sadness or depression, not necessarily because of anything happening in your life, but because the energy around you has become toxic. And when you try to shake it off, you realize it's not just your own mood, it's something more, something external. The energy in your home may be affecting you in ways that are not immediately obvious, but are deeply felt. The emotional impact of these forces is often the first thing you notice because it slowly saps your strength, making it harder to function, to think clearly, or even to experience joy. The effects can ripple out beyond just you as well. If you live with others, whether it's family, friends, or roommates, you may start to notice a change in them too. Arguments that never used to happen may occur with increasing frequency. People who were once calm and patient may become irritable, snapping at each other over the smallest things. These heightened emotions, anger, frustration, sadness, can feel disproportionate to the events that triggered them. A comment or a situation that would typically be brushed off suddenly escalates into a heated conflict. These emotional disturbances are not just random. They are the result of the presence of negative energy in your environment. They create tension, stir up unresolved emotions, and can lead to a cycle of emotional exhaustion where everyone in the household begins to feed off each other's negativity. This emotional toll often manifests physically as well. The stress that accompanies such an atmosphere can take a heavy toll on your body, draining you physically in ways that are difficult to explain. Have you ever woken up feeling more exhausted than when you went to bed? Or maybe you've experienced physical aches and pains such as headaches, back pain, or muscle tension that don't seem to have an obvious cause. These are often symptoms of emotional stress manifesting in the physical body. When your mental and emotional state is being weighed down by negative energy, it's not just your mind that suffers. It can create real, tangible physical discomfort. The constant drain on your emotional reserves can leave you feeling physically depleted, your body weighed down by the invisible burden of dark energy. The impact can be even more severe for those who are more sensitive to spiritual or energetic forces. Some people may be more attuned to the subtle shifts in their environment and can feel these negative energies more acutely. These individuals may experience heightened anxiety, depression, or physical symptoms like fatigue, insomnia, or digestive issues when dark forces are present in their homes. It's as though their sensitivity amplifies the emotional weight in the environment, and their body becomes a barometer for the energy around them. The emotional toll becomes even more pronounced because they are not only dealing with their own emotional reactions, but are also absorbing the negative energy that lingers in the home. The physical symptoms can extend beyond the individual and affect the whole household. Have you ever noticed that the atmosphere in your home feels heavier, more oppressive, even in the middle of a perfectly normal day? The walls of your home may feel like they are closing in on you, like the space is shrinking, and the air itself becomes thick with tension. This sensation is often linked to the accumulation of negative energy in a space. Over time, these energies settle into the very structure of the home. The longer they are allowed to fester, the more difficult it becomes to escape their effects. It's as though the house itself becomes a conduit for these forces, amplifying their impact on everyone who lives within it. In extreme cases, the emotional and physical toll can begin to have a serious impact on your overall health. The constant stress, the emotional strain, and the physical exhaustion caused by these negative energies can weaken your immune system, leaving you more susceptible to illness. You may find yourself catching colds or experiencing other health issues that seem to persist longer than usual. This is because the emotional and physical stress that accompanies living in an environment filled with dark energy takes a toll on your body's ability to fight off illness. Your body is already dealing with the emotional burden of the energy in your home, and when that stress continues unabated, your physical health becomes compromised as well. Even your sleep can be disrupted by the emotional and physical impact of these forces. Sleep disturbances are one of the most common complaints of those who experience negative energy in their home. You may find it difficult to fall asleep at night, or when you do sleep, you experience restless nights filled with strange dreams or feelings of dread. The lack of restful sleep only exacerbates the emotional and physical toll, leaving you even more drained the next day. This cycle of disrupted sleep and constant emotional turmoil can lead to a vicious cycle where it becomes increasingly difficult to regain balance, making it harder to combat the negative forces at play. What's even more troubling is the way these forces can isolate you from those around you. The emotional weight can create a rift between you and the people you care about. When everyone is living in a state of constant emotional turmoil, it can be challenging to maintain healthy relationships. People may withdraw from one another, either because they don't understand what's happening, or because the negative energy is simply too much to bear. This isolation can deepen the emotional toll, as it creates a sense of loneliness and despair. You may begin to feel as though you are fighting this battle alone, and that can make the situation feel even more hopeless. But perhaps the most insidious aspect of the emotional and physical impact is how it erodes your sense of self. Over time, the constant presence of dark energy can cause you to lose sight of who you truly are. The emotional drain leaves you feeling disconnected from your true self, and the negative forces that surround you begin to distort your thoughts and feelings. You may begin to question your worth, your purpose, and your ability to handle life's challenges. This loss of connection to your inner self can lead to feelings of confusion, hopelessness, and despair. It's as though you've lost the clarity of mind and heart that once defined you. And this is where the darkness wins, when it makes you forget the strength and resilience within you, when it begins to convince you that you are weak, that you cannot fight, and that you are no longer in control. The emotional and physical toll can also have long-term effects on your personal growth. When you are constantly battling negative energy, it becomes difficult to focus on your personal goals, ambitions, and dreams. The emotional weight of living in such an environment leaves little room for growth or creativity. Instead of being able to nurture your talents and aspirations, you are caught in a constant cycle of survival, fighting just to maintain your peace and well-being. The result is a stunted sense of self-development as you become trapped in the effects of the negative energy that surrounds you. As time goes on, it becomes clear that these emotional and physical impacts are not just isolated events. They are a sign of a deeper spiritual struggle that needs to be addressed. When dark forces begin to take hold of your home, they start by affecting your emotional state, which leads to physical exhaustion, disrupted sleep, and the breakdown of relationships. The toll is cumulative, gradually wearing down your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. And the longer these forces are allowed to persist, the more entrenched they become in your life, making it even harder to restore balance and reclaim your peace. When it comes to the presence of dark or negative forces in your home, the most critical response is not to ignore it or push it aside, but to recognize the signs for what they are and take decisive action. There is a tendency, especially in our modern rational world, to dismiss feelings of unease or unexplained occurrences as trivial or irrational. But the truth is, when something doesn't feel right in your home, it isn't just a passing moment. It is a signal, a call for your attention. If you continue to disregard these feelings, these signs, you allow the negative energies to grow unchecked, eventually leaving you feeling powerless, unable to regain control of your space. This is why awareness is the first and most important step in reclaiming your home, your peace, and your life. Awareness is the key to breaking the cycle of denial. Most people go through life without ever questioning the atmosphere of their home, simply accepting things as they are. But the moment you start paying attention to your surroundings, to the way the air feels or how the dynamics between family members shift, you begin to open yourself to the possibility that something might be wrong. You may notice odd, inexplicable events, lights flickering, objects moving, a sudden chill in the air. These aren't just random occurrences, they are signs, often indicative of negative or dark forces at work in your environment. The trick is to be attuned to these changes. It's about tuning into your gut feelings, your instincts, and paying attention to how the environment around you shifts. These are the early warning signs that can help you take control before the situation spirals out of hand. What's equally important in this awareness is recognizing that your emotions and energy are intimately tied to your home. You can feel when something is off, when the energy in the house shifts from warmth to cold, when laughter becomes replaced with tension, or when people who used to be close start withdrawing from each other. These subtle changes should not be dismissed, but viewed as a red flag signaling a deeper issue at play. It's easy to overlook these feelings or brush them off as stress or fatigue, but they are often an indication that negative forces are starting to gain ground in your life. These energies, if allowed to persist, will continue to chip away at your peace and joy, and ultimately lead to an environment that feels oppressive and toxic. The problem with ignoring these signs is that it allows negative energy to spread like a virus. It doesn't just affect one area of your life, it spreads into every corner of your home and into your mind and body. The longer you go without confronting it, the more it will take hold. This is why awareness is so important. It allows you to catch the problem early, before it has time to fester and grow. Once you become aware of the energy in your home and begin to identify the signs, you are empowered to take the next step. Action. Action is the key to breaking free from the grasp of dark forces. It's easy to feel as though you're powerless in the face of something so invisible and intangible. But the truth is, you have the ability to change the energy of your space. You are not helpless, and you are certainly not powerless. One of the most significant misconceptions is that you need to wait for an outside force to come in and take care of the problem for you. This couldn't be further from the truth. You have the power to restore balance, harmony, and peace to your home, but it requires you to take action. Taking action doesn't necessarily mean doing something drastic or extreme, but it does require intentional effort. The first step in this action is to cleanse your space. You can use various methods to do this, whether it's through the burning of sage, the use of crystals, or simply setting the intention to clear negative energies from your home. There's no one-size-fits-all solution. It's about finding what works best for you and your space. The goal is to create an environment that feels clean, open, and welcoming. A home that's been overwhelmed by negative forces will feel dense, heavy, and uncomfortable. And so it's important to shift the energy to one of lightness and peace. Cleansing your home is one of the most direct ways to address the problem head-on, because it allows you to reset the energy and start fresh. Another form of action is the conscious decision to protect your space. It's not enough to simply cleanse your home once and think the problem is solved. Protection is an ongoing process. Just as you would lock your doors to keep unwanted visitors out, it's important to protect your home from any spiritual or energetic intrusions. You can do this by using protective symbols, performing regular energy cleanses, or using affirmations and prayers to create a barrier around your home. These practices serve as a shield, ensuring that negative energy is unable to penetrate your sanctuary. By actively choosing to protect your space, you are sending a clear message to any negative forces that they are not welcome here. This protection also extends to your own personal energy. You are responsible for your emotional and spiritual well-being, and by setting healthy boundaries both for yourself and for your space, you can ensure that you are not allowing any unwanted energy to affect you or your loved ones. Taking action also involves addressing any emotional or relational issues within the home. Often, dark energies exploit the weaknesses and vulnerabilities in relationships, feeding on conflict, miscommunication, or unresolved tension. If you find that relationships in your home are becoming strained, it's essential to take a step back and evaluate what's happening. Are there patterns of negativity or unresolved conflict that need to be addressed? Are there unspoken tensions or feelings that are being ignored? By addressing these issues head-on, you are not only healing the relationships within your home, but also addressing one of the key vulnerabilities that dark energy thrives on. Negativity feeds on negativity, and by fostering a sense of openness, communication, and understanding, you are making it more difficult for any dark forces to take hold. Healing the emotional and relational dynamics in your home strengthens its energy and creates a foundation of support and love. In addition to emotional healing, taking action means restoring your own sense of empowerment. You must reclaim your own power by refusing to give in to fear. It's easy to feel as though you are fighting an invisible enemy, and the fear of the unknown can be overwhelming, but fear only serves to weaken you and allows the negative energy to thrive. Action requires courage. And the most powerful tool you have is your ability to stand firm, trust in yourself, and take charge of your own space. No matter how dark or oppressive the situation may feel, you are in control. Fear will only hold you back, while action propels you forward. It's crucial to shift your mindset from one of helplessness to one of empowerment, understanding that you have everything you need to reclaim your space and restore peace. Restoring balance to your home also means creating an environment that supports your well-being on every level. Surrounding yourself with things that bring you joy, peace, and comfort is a form of self-care that reinforces the positive energy in your home. This could mean decluttering your space, introducing more natural light, or adding plants and symbols of peace and abundance. You are not only clearing negative energy, but also actively creating a space that nurtures and supports your body, mind, and spirit. Every choice you make in your home should reflect your desire for peace, harmony, and protection. You are not just reacting to the negative energy that's present, but proactively creating a space that fosters positivity and well-being. Inaction, on the other hand, only allows the negative energy to continue its work. The more you ignore the signs, the more difficult it becomes to regain control. When you refuse to take action, you are giving away your power. It's easy to feel as though nothing will work, or that the problem is too big to handle. But the longer you wait, the more entrenched the negative forces become. Action is not optional, it is necessary. You are the one who must take responsibility for the energy in your home and your life. This is your space, and it's time for you to fight for it. The call for awareness and action is not just about fixing a problem in your home. It's about restoring your sense of power, your peace, and your connection to the life you want to live. It's a declaration that you are in control of your environment, your energy, and your destiny. No one and nothing should have the power to disrupt the peace and harmony you deserve. By becoming aware of the signs, recognizing the presence of negative forces, and taking deliberate action, you are sending a clear message that your home is sacred, that it is a space of love, joy, and light, and that no dark forces will be allowed to take hold. It's time to take charge, reclaim your power, and restore the peace that belongs to you.